Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Seattle College's Conversations With. We are clearly not at the Seattle Central, North, or South building. We're in a whole new building today. It's a beautiful building. You should definitely come and check it out. It's called the Fairview Building. Is that right?
That's not right.
That's not right. What is the name of this building?
It's the Health Education Center.
It's the Health Education Center.
On Beacon Hill.
It's on Beacon Hill, yeah. You can't miss it. It's a big brick building built back, 1930? Gorgeous, yeah.
1920s.
1920s. You can see out the window a little bit, but probably not super well. We are here on the 5th floor, 6th floor? 5th floor. I'm really excited. Today, when I'm out in the world and I get calls or emails or I'm at education fairs, a lot of people are interested in becoming nurses. So I called up, emailed the nursing program. I said, we got to talk because I want to give you guys really accurate information. Can you guys introduce yourselves just to get this started? Tell everybody who you are, maybe what you do here, how long you've been here, where you're from originally. I grew up in Oregon. Where are you from? So whoever wants to start.
Sure, I'll start. Hi.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. My name is Dr. Lauren Cline. I am the Dean of Nursing here at Seattle Central College. I'm originally from New England. I grew up in Connecticut, and I've lived in Washington now for 31 years.
Wow.
I've been with the college about 3 years now, but I've been in nursing for the last 41 years, and the last 20 of those in nursing education.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hi, I'm Alison Shurtleff. I am the Associate Dean of Nursing here at Seattle Central College. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I have been here for 10 years, but I've been at Seattle Colleges for 7. And I am the example of second career nursing. I became a nurse at age 50.
Wow, cool. Well, you're both from the East Coast. Yeah. You came to the West and just loved it? They decided never to leave?
Job opportunities.
Job opportunities.
Kids grew up here, stayed here.
Yeah. Where'd they go to high school?
They went over where we live out in Issaquah, so
okay.
they went out that way.
All right, so you commute in.
I commute in, yeah.
How long does it take?
On a good day, about 22 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought you were going to say much longer.
It takes me an hour.
Yeah, it takes me an hour too. So.
I'm down in the Covington Maple Valley area.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
Takes me a while.
Yeah. Do you drive or do you take public?
No, I drive.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah.
From the East Coast, we're used to our cars.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you have you said doctor. You guys have a lot of education between the two of you. Maybe, a lot of people wonder how I become a nurse. Tell, if you guys don't mind, just give them a quick rundown on how you became a nurse. Like you did it later. You've been doing it for so long. Maybe what was your pathway?
Mine's shorter, so I'll go from.
Okay.
As I said, I became a nurse at 50 when we had that crisis in 07, 08 financially. I said, I got to retrain. And so I have a bachelor's degree in something else, and I took advantage of what they call an accelerated second degree, BSN, which is a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. It was a 16-month program, and I had to do that. But I also had to do the same prereqs that all of these international students will have to do. So I spent over a year doing that, and then the 16-month program.
And then 16
and
months.
so then I had my bachelor's, and then after I became a working nurse, I then knew that I wanted to go into education.
Mm-hmm.
So I then pursued, while I was working and earning good money, I then pursued my Master's of Science in Nursing Education, of which my employer did pay about 3/4 of that.
Wow, that's really great. So if you retrained at a later stage in life, a non-traditional student, Did you find it difficult to go back and get back in a classroom?
Well, the timing of it was 2009, 2010, and for me, even though I had, relatively basic computer skills, that was a big learning curve. Going back to school, not from the 70s and 80s, but there's the internet, there's the computer. You have to master different programs like Word, PowerPoint. You got to learn to upload files. There were things that I wasn't doing on a regular basis. That was part of that learning curve. In addition to the amazing concepts and information that you have to learn for nursing overall. So that, and because of my age, I worried a little bit about being accepted by younger people being in the classroom, but that wasn't a problem.
Not a problem.
Fit right in right from the beginning. So if anybody out there is watching this that is of an older, mature age and wishes to change careers, I wholeheartedly suggest you do it.
Yeah, and we do get a lot of non-traditional students who contact me or the other recruiters and say, hey, I want to become a nurse. I did this before, but I don't want to do that anymore. Not a problem.
Absolutely pursue it.
Cool.
Don't let it hold you back.
There you go. I like it. And then...
So I would say I was a more traditional student. I went to high school, did a nursing aid program in high school, and then went to a diploma nursing program. So that was ran by the hospital, and the science classes were accredited from the local community college. So I worked as a nurse for many years. Let's see, I'm trying to think. It took me 17 years to get my bachelor's degree because in that time I got married, moved cross country, had children, life happened, started classes, and had to pivot. So I liked school. I found school okay. It took me about a year to finish my bachelor's degree and prereqs. One quarter I took, a quarter's about 10 weeks of study. I had 21 credits. I was a busy mom, but my kids were in school and I could do homework when they were busy. And I decided I liked school. So I went and got my master's degree and rolled right in to get my master's degree. And I got my master's degree in nursing with a focus on education and leadership in 2004 and was part of the first class at the University of Washington Boffel's master's program.
Oh, cool.
And then I decided I worked for a while as a nurse educator. And then I thought, I think I need a final degree. So I enrolled and finished my doctorate. I have a doctorate in education with a focus on nursing, and I finished that 8 years ago.
How long did that program take you?
That took me 6 years.
6 years, wow.
Another 6. So 3 years of diploma, a year and a half, I'd say, to finish a bachelor's, 2 years of a master's, and then another 6 to get a doctorate.
Okay.
I like
That's what you have ahead of you.
Yeah. A lot of papers.
Well, not necessarily.
You could actually get your doctorate sooner than 6, but she spread it out over some time.
It depends, because choosing your nursing program or any education pathway has to fit for you and your family and your checkbook.
And your checkbook.
So we're here really targeting this towards international students. Have you guys spent time overseas? Have you ever done nursing overseas and spent time in other countries?
I've lived in several countries, but I've never done nursing overseas. I was primarily Southeast Asia, India, Singapore, Indonesia, and then with my first degree, I worked for the government and I had Latin America, so I had Mexico and South America.
You speak Spanish? Okay.
A little
bit.
Just a little. So my experience more was when I did my master's degree, my graduate degree, first one. We looked at nursing education in England, in the United Kingdom. So we worked with Princess Alice Hospice Hospital and the University of Suffolk and looked at nursing education, how nurses are trained internationally. So that was some of my work in my thesis.
Right. And you spent time in their hallways. This is the National Health Service, NHS?
NHS, yeah. We were in an academic hospital in central London. So
nice. And you liked London?
I did.
I do too. It's such a great city. All right. Well, let's talk about the nursing program that we have here. Obviously, you can't get your master's degree program. We do have some limitations as to what you can accomplish while you're here. Can you give us a little background about the nursing program that we have here, how long it's been around, the number of students that we serve, just some foundational stuff?
There you go. So the original nursing program was started in 1970 and was a practical nursing program. Over the years, it has migrated towards a higher level of nursing, which is called the registered nurse. And so our program serves to offer an associate degree in nursing. We admit up to 180 students per year, and we're around about 230-ish students enrolled right now for the nursing program. We also support students in our nursing assistant pathway, which is a requirement to do our associate degree program. That's a certificate program and takes about 10 weeks to complete and finish here. So our students all seem to take the same prereqs for our program as well. So we'll get into that maybe in a little bit of how to get in.
Sure, yeah.
Anything to add, Alison?
No, I think that covers it.
All right. I mean, our nursing program is one of quite a few around the state, but how are we viewed by the industry? I mean, do people say, "Oh, you went to Seattle colleges? That's a good nursing program"? Do they say, "Oh, the best nursing program is Seattle colleges"? How do we kind of fit in as far as? I mean, is there a ranking system?
There isn't a ranking system, but we're more graded on our NCLEX pass rate. So how many of our students pass on the first time? And so 80% is the golden rule for our state first time pass rate.
Okay.
And ours is over 83.
83.52 last year.
So our students are passing the minimum to be able to license and obtain their license. So that's good. We have a variety of schools. There are 29 out of the 34 community technical colleges in our state that have nursing programs.
Oh, okay.
Some are in the city, and some are in rural and farther away, depending where you live. But here, there's approximately, I want to say, with public and private 2- and 4-year schools, 11 or 12 in the King County. So King County has 55% of the Washington State nursing student placements when we go to clinical. So we're kind of busy in King County where we reside for how many students?
I-5 corridor, but we are the largest nursing program of the community college programs.
Wow. You mentioned NCLEX, so before I get too far, maybe there are listeners out there that don't know what this acronym means. What is it?
It's the national licensing, the exam that you need to pass. So you'll go through your prereqs. It's quite a journey. You go through your prereqs. You then have to be accepted into nursing school. You have to complete nursing school. Our program takes 18 months. It's 6 quarters. And then you have to pass. So you'll be a student graduate nurse when you graduate. And then you have to take the national licensing exam, which we call NCLEX, NCLEX. That then gives you the official registered nurse license.
Gotcha.
Here in the state of Washington, the state of Washington has also now become part of what we call the compact licensing system with a lot of the other states in the country. And so you can sit for the exam and not just have a Washington license if you choose to. You can have what they call a multi-state, which would give you about 32 or 34 states now that are part of the compact licensing? Somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not all 50, but it's a lot of them. So it's like once you have that license, you can literally bebop around all of them without having to go and then get your license there.
So perfect if you're like a travel nurse.
If you're a travel nurse, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Or say you're military.
For sure.
And you're transferring from one military area to another and it happens to be a compact state, you don't have to then get a new licensure there. But the point is once you have a license, that's the key. Because once you have a license, it's really not that difficult to then get a license in a different state. But being part of that compact system really is beneficial.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, nice. Is it a long test? Who administers it?
National Council of State Boards of Nursing through Pearson VUE provides the online exam.
Oh, it's an online.
And it costs a little over $200 to sit for the licensing exam.
Currently.
And you have to register with the Board of Nursing in your state to take that to license. So that's another couple $100. And the test is at a minimum 85 questions. The maximum number of questions is up
150.
to 150, and you have about 5 hours to take the test.
That's a long test.
You have to be fingerprinted. There's bio-IDing happening now. So if you are unsuccessful passing that test, you have to wait 45 days before you're eligible to retake it. And then you have to pay another exam fee and licensing fee. And in Washington, our Board of Nursing said, If you fail the exam 4 times, you are required to take another class to remediate that information.
Right.
And they have a list of approved programs.
Mm-hmm.
So some states allowed you to take it 7 or 8 times to pass. Washington, this just went enacted here in 2026. If you take it 4 times and you fail 4 times, you have to take the class before they'll allow you to test. Because the Board of Nursing determines whether you're ready to take the test or not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the test is an intelligent test, meaning when you sit down and you get to question 1, it's not like there's already 150 questions in the queue. The test reads how you answer. As you get a question correct, it increases the level of difficulty for each successive question.
Wow.
And then if you miss one, it brings you down to a baseline and asks you an easy one, and it progresses that way. So it's pulling from different areas. So just because you sat down and you have that, you'll never see that, say you pass it in the minimum 85 questions, you'll never see that exact 85 question exam again. Because it all was based on how you answered your own answers to the question, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
want
called a
people
computer
thinking,
adaptive
well,
test.
I just have to answer 180, anywhere from 85 to 150 questions. The reason why it goes beyond 85 is because it's determining you haven't answered successfully enough for it to say you're safe for us to pass you. And it could max out at 150.
Interesting.
And people can go to 150 and fail the test.
Listen, we could do a whole podcast just on this test, it sounds like. But do you have to like retake it at periodic points in your career? Or once you pass it once, you're done?
Once you pass it, as long as you don't let your license lapse, you're not retaking it.
Oh, I'm
However,
guessing.
if you go to, say, a nurse practitioner level,
Uh-huh.
and there's 2 ways to do that. You can do a master's that then has a certificate that allows you to get there, or you can do the doctorate to nurse practitioner route. Those will require subsequent national exams to pass.
But in Washington State, to maintain your license, you need to practice. And that means working
Sure, yeah.
and doing continuing education.
Gotcha.
And so you need to do 15 hours or units of continuing education every year. So a total of 45 every 3 years. And if your number comes up when you renew your license, which you renew every year in our state, they can say, show us your documents you've been doing your continuing education.
Interesting.
And they add things that where you have to do, whether it's mental health, substance misuse,
Right.
different kind of things that they require. So you have to follow the Board of Nursing's rules to maintain your license. And it's a full board.
Okay, so if you're out there thinking about becoming a nurse, but you're not really sure, this is a lifelong, it sounds like...
That's exactly where I was just going with that.
Yeah.
When you're coming into nursing, or any medical field, quite frankly, is lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Because as you can imagine, medicine isn't static, meaning it doesn't stay stable or the same. We're constantly making new advances, new changes. And as we say in nursing, evidence-based practice, okay, that is like the hallmark of nursing, is you were constantly, we may have done it this way, then we found out through evidence-based practice that probably wasn't best and we had to up our game or change something. Now you're doing it a different way. What we used to do 20 years ago, even what we used to do 10 years ago, is not necessarily practiced now because of the changes and advances as we learn more about the human body and how to take care of us.
Huh. All right, well, let's move on to something more general. So when I get talked to by these students, they just need to know, I just want to become a nurse. How do I do it? I've kind of figured like 3 different scenarios. There's the kids that are just graduating from high school. They've done no university education at all, college university education at all. So they're just starting fresh. I've got the students that have some college, maybe they did a year or 2 in their home country, like say Ghana, maybe they go to a special school there for nursing or whatever, and then they want to come here and finish. And then I got the students that already have a bachelor's degree in another area, kind of like what you did, and then they come here. I'll get back to that one because they always ask me about getting their transcripts evaluated, even the students who have maybe started. So maybe we can just start with the process, the pathway. For all those different scenarios, how do you get from here to taking that NCLEX exam so that they can become a nurse? How do they get through all that, just real generally? And that's a big question, so.
First thing is to get admitted to the college itself. So then
Fair
you
enough.
take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
So if a student is interested, they get admitted and they meet with an international advisor to come figure out, hey, how do I go to Seattle Central College? And that starts with meeting the advising staff. If they get admitted and offered admission to the college, we have support structures and a variety of folks that can help navigate what classes they need to take. So they need to take those entry-level courses that will get them into the university setting. So English, math, and maybe some other basic skills, we call them.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some classes that offer instruction support called iBest. It's called for basic education. And our nursing assistant program has that. So it's a support teacher to help bridge the gap between the English version and what they may understand as they're learning English. If you're able to move through that pathway and you qualify, then you start taking your freshman classes, which could be English 101, a communications class, maybe introductory writing, and those basic courses. I'm not well versed in all those basic classes because I live in the bubble of nursing.
Sure.
Then if you say, I think I want to be a nurse, what's the pathway? There's prereqs. So those are the classes you have to take before you start the nursing program. So it's math. It's Math 146. Good news is all the community colleges in Washington say if you take these classes in our CTC system, Community Technical College, it'll transfer wherever you go. And the universities will take them. So it's not a wasted class. So English 101, Biology 160, which is an introduction to biology. Then there's Biology 241, 242, which is Anatomy and Physiology. And it's all hands-on. These are not online classes. You need to be in the lab, touching the things, playing with the equipment, and there's little critters and things you might touch, so you'll get your first wave of touching things you might not be comfortable with. Then you move into Biology 260, which is microbiology. So these are all those infections, all the things post-COVID. You learn all about bugs and germs. Then you take Chemistry 121, which is an intro to chemistry. Some other colleges want you to take organic and inorganic, so again, gets to those folks with those degree options going, is it transferable? Our nursing program doesn't decide what transfers in. That's the transfer evaluation folks do. You also need English 101, Psych 100, and Psych 200. Those are developmental psychology courses to get you to understand humans and folks.
The lifespan.
The
being
lifespan.
born to being aged.
Gotcha.
So once they do all of those things, our program requires them to do that nursing assistant certificate. So it's a 1-quarter system. It's 10 weeks long, and it allows them to sit for the Washington State licensing exam. So that they might be able to work as a nursing assistant if an employer will help.
Clarify, the state license exam is for the nursing assistant, not NCLEX for registered
Right.
nurse.
There's one more piece to our program. It's called the TEAS, and it's the test of essential academic skills.
Yes, I was going to ask you what that is. Yeah.
So as part of our application, this is only for Seattle Central's nursing program, our students take the TEAS test. They can take it twice within the year, and they need to score an overall of 75. It measures math, science, English, and reading.
All right.
So our students, when they apply to our program, need to have all the prereqs completed and their grades posted, a nursing assistant certificate and license, and pass the TEAS. So it takes about 2 years to get all that done before you want to talk about admissions?
Yes, on the admissions, the one hiccup that we've been having that we want to make sure everybody is aware of, that they'll need the time, which is why it's so essential that the classes are completed and posted. If they're not taken at Central, specifically at Central, and which is odd to say because at South College, South Seattle, or North Seattle, they still have to have their transcripts evaluated and brought into Central. So if you took prereqs anywhere else, even at any of the other SVCTC schools, Edmonds or Everett or wherever, right, there is a long lead time for the transcript evaluation people down at Broadway Edison, which is the main Central campus, to perform that work. And so we don't want people putting in their submission under an application cycle that's only 4 weeks long, thinking that all that can get done. They're telling us that it can take up to 16 weeks to evaluate transcripts currently because of staff cuts and other problems. So we want to make sure it's clear with everybody out there that transcript evaluations are a time-consuming, essential part of being able to apply and be ready to be given a seat in the nursing program.
Right. And I'm guessing you guys are giving them lots of heads up along the way, counseling them.
We have info sessions.
Right.
Every month, twice a month.
You can go on.
So what's important about your international students who hold a degree, the international transcript evaluation will take that 16 weeks. It takes a long time. It will need to be translated into English, and then the dean of that division reviews the course evaluation. So it's helpful if they can email and have their course syllabus also translated. So not only do you have the grade, but you have what the course was. So say a biology class. So in that anatomy class, did they do the entire body systems?
Right.
That's what the evaluation team is looking for. And then if the evaluator is unable to determine, it goes to the dean of the science department or the humanities department. And then they make the determination if we can transfer in that course or degree to our college.
Right.
The nursing program doesn't make that decision. That comes from the college and the deans from the science department and the humanities. By the time it comes to my desk for a course substitution, it's gone through all the paperwork. I always sign it because everyone else vetted it. If you're a nurse in your home country, that's a different process. And we'll talk about that, because if you're a licensed nurse in your home country, the Washington State Board of Nursing has a pathway for an internationally trained nurse for their evaluation, and then the Board of Nursing evaluates you that way. And if they determine they'll accept the license, they make that determination. If they deny it, then you need to do all of the work to become a nursing student here in Washington.
Wow.
They're working on trying to make that easier, but it's still difficult.
But if they're already licensed in their home country, what's the advantage of coming to the U.S. to get a U.S. license?
The scope of practice.
Just scope of practice, okay.
If they want a larger scope of practice, as we mentioned in an earlier discussion privately before we went live, nurses have more autonomy and have more responsibility here in the United States and are trained at a higher level, which is why nursing from a U.S. program is considered the gold standard around the world. In a lot of countries, their scope is more narrow.
Gotcha.
And they're not allowed to practice to the level. And then, there's the more you know, knowledge is power. And it's like, even if you do go back and you're nursing in your home country, maybe you are more limited in your scope, but what you know, you've got that knowledge, you're still able to then alert and help and save people's lives by identifying things and alerting the physicians or whatever the line of succession is there on how to properly treat them.
So when Alison talks about the scope of practice, a nurse in the U.S. listens to your heart and lung sounds, palpates and feels your belly, looks at your feet, watches you walk, does we call something called a head-to-toe exam. And in some cultures and country, that is only the purview of a physician. So the nurse follows the orders, gives the medication, maybe changes the dressing, but doesn't do the assessment. In our U.S. culture, that is very much our role and scope. So depending what country it is, it may be beyond the scope of practice of what a nurse does in that culture.
But the assessment is the critical part. And that is where you're going to find out if things are going south or getting better or getting worse. And that is why it's essential to have that knowledge, because you may not be able to be, if you're in a different country with a different scope, you may not be able, but you can recognize it, identify it, and alert so it can be treated and save lives.
Wow, all right. So they apply to Seattle colleges as an international student, they get accepted as an international student, then they get here, they get started on the the undergraduate work that they have to do in the prerequisites, apply to the nursing program. Hopefully they get into the nursing program, do that 2-year associate degree in nursing, and then they're done, in theory.
They're done, and once they pass the test and they have a license, the international working, that's a little bit of a challenge. There are pathways to remain a student, which is to complete the bachelor's degree, which could take 1 to 2 years, depending how quickly you wanted to do it. And then they can continue to look at other graduate programs, and that's how some students remain enrolled as a student. They continue to progress and do those things. I think the challenges now are, even if they pass the test, who will hire them and sponsor them?
Right.
And there's some companies that will.
Okay.
So I think there's still hope.
Well, sometimes when I talk to students that are working on their prerequisites, what they worry most about is that they'll go to all this work, they'll get all their prerequisites done, and then they'll apply and they won't get accepted. What's the criteria for getting accepted into the program? I hear about this lottery system. People will maybe read about that or talk to other students. Can you kind of get rid of the myths and tell everybody exactly what that is all about?
Sure. When you apply, and this is assuming you have all of the prerequisites done, including taking the TEAS exam, and you've had that at 75%, you're holding on to a successful NAC licensure. So let's say you have every element that is ready to be put into the application process. So the minimum grade, passing grade for all the prerequisite courses is 2.5 on a GPA scale, and the 75% for the TEAS, and then having the NAC license. When we get the application cycle open for a month, people upload all their information, and then we're tracking it all. And then as a group, when it closes, we then look at how many submitted what we call a complete application. All the elements are there, nothing's missing, documents are there, and we list them. So say, I'll use this last fall one as a good example. We had essentially 215 that were started, 165 that were completed, but when we went to vet them, there were elements missing from some of those. So ultimately, the 165 came down to about 110.
Okay.
And we had 110 for 90 slots, and that's when the lottery kicks in. We do not rate things by like who had the higher T's or who had a higher GPA. Those 110 were put into a random number generator, and 90 names were 90 numbers, 90 people were chosen. The other 20 are on a waiting list. So the offers go out to those 90, and if they don't reply in the right time, or if they decline because, and they can decline for a lot of reasons. It's interesting. It could be, I'm so honored I got this slot, however, financially I can't do this right now. Or a family emergency happened, or I chose another program. It's not uncommon for people to apply to more than one program because it's difficult to get in. So there's a lot of varieties. We ended up using our entire waiting list. Yeah. And so we do have our 90, but so if they happen to apply in a cycle where we have a lot of qualified, full applications, it might be more difficult, but if it happens to be a cycle where they're not competing as many against many people, it's like if you had everything in there and we haven't gone over our seats of labor, you're in. The lottery at that point is, if you have 60 seats and you have 60 qualified applicants, we're not running a lottery, right? We're just offering it to the 60, and you'll still have some people that maybe need to decline for the same reason. Then we'll go look at our ones that we put into what we call pending. And the pendings are the ones that have some elements. Are there something that will be able to be taken care of prior to when it starts so that we could make them a qualified offer, a conditional offer? They have transcripts in process of being evaluated. They were taking a course, but they didn't finish it in time for the application cycle, so the grade wasn't posted. But it is now. So those kinds of things we can fix. Some of the other ones we might put into pending is And this is very much applicable to international. It was an international university or other degree, and it hasn't had a chance, because it takes such a long time, it hasn't had a chance to be fully vetted to determine were those classes going to transfer or not. And those would be further down the list. And then you have some that are just a straight up, no, the T's wasn't adequate, or they have a below a 2.5 minimum GPA on something, that type of thing.
It's hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around that whole idea. It's like, well, I need a 4-point G. I need to get the best GPA because it'll make it more likely.
No, actually, with our school, it's not. It's simply 2.5 and above, and the 75, and they're put in the same pool. We do not stack rank like a UW will.
Ah, interesting.
UW will take the cream and they'll stack rank them. Who had the highest and go down from there.
Oh, interesting. Do most of the community colleges that have nursing programs do it that way, or is it just Seattle colleges?
This is our way of doing it. Other colleges do it differently.
That's so
Other
interesting.
colleges have a point system for your overall GPA, or if you're a veteran, or if you're a current student. So
some do essays.
I think, some do proctored essays. So I think ours is the most
attainable,
fair,
and
fair. So students will say, well, I got a 2.5 in my biology class. I want to do better. So do I hurt myself by doing better, or I take it again? That comes up a lot about repeating classes.
Sure.
You can only repeat a course 3 times in 5 years. So if you're taking a class and you got just a 2.5 and you're like, I'm going to do it again, and you only got a 2.6, it's not helping you. Don't take it a third time.
Right.
You're having some difficult. You got the minimum, but you still have work to do.
Right.
So then maybe try to do better in the other anatomy class and try to improve your grade that way. We are a science-based curriculum, so we are math and science heavy. So if those aren't your strengths, and so you got a 2.2 the first time you took it, and then you took biology again and you got a 2.4. You did better, but do you take it a third time? You really need to think about it, because our students have to remember their biology.
Well, yeah.
So in nursing school, in biology, they teach you the 4 chambers of the heart, where's the heart located, and how it works, right?
I think I know this one.
Right there. All of how it works. In nursing school, we're going to teach you how to listen to the heart and how to identify what a diseased heart sounds like. And then how do we evaluate a patient's lungs and extremities for fluid if their feet are puffy and swollen and diseased. And then we expect you to remember that there's 4 chambers to the heart and there's 5 we expect you to apply previous learned knowledge, and that's where our students struggle.
So they're not just sitting in a lecture hall all day long every day. That's not how this works.
No.
In our nursing program, in all nursing programs, you're going to touch each other. You're going to work with people who are in a patient gown and maybe just have undergarments on, and you're going to see people who are vulnerable and not feeling very well. We do go to a variety of healthcare settings, like hospitals, long-term care. We get to go to labor delivery. Seeing babies is a big one. We go to Seattle Children's Hospital to see little small humans. And then we take care of, elderly people and people at like our trauma hospital. And so it all depends. Not elderly. Elderly. No. So you have to be comfortable taking care of other people. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do everything. You asked before about blood and things like that.
Sure.
And it's not everyone's thing, but you learn to work with it.
Right.
And you find out what you like or don't like.
Or you don't. If you find that you don't like blood and vomit and whatever fluids are coming out, then maybe they're like, look, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I did all these prerequisites. Now what do I do with my time? It's like, I want to work in healthcare, but I don't want to be a nurse anymore because that's just not for me.
You can pivot.
You can pivot. One of the great things about being a student in the United States is you kind of reinvent yourself. So what are some of the options that we offer here?
One of the advantages of being part of Seattle Central Colleges and the Health Education Center here is we are health-centric. And so because the prerequisites are so similar, if not the exact same in many of the disciplines, you could pivot very easily to do what we call a surgical tech, where you're actually in the surgery suites assisting surgeons while they're working. You can do sterile processing if you want to, which sterilizes the equipment for surgeries. You could do respiratory therapy. You could do medical assistance. You could do
work on teeth.
You could work dental and do that.
So dental has a dental assisting pathway and a dental hygiene pathway. The hygiene is a bachelor's degree. The respiratory therapy is also a bachelor's degree. Okay. There's also health and human services. So some of the sciences may not transfer, but some of the other healthcare experiences might. So if they want to be a case manager or work with communities, public health, there's other positions that take care of people in a different way that don't involve bodily functions, I would say.
Yeah.
I think the other advantage too for Seattle Central and not letting the lottery thing scare you, because I think we are the most fair in entry, but also we have the largest cohort admittance of the community and technical colleges at 180 a year. We tend to do them 90 and 90 right now. That's our fall and winter entries. In the future, very near future, we're going to start entering 3 times a year, but split it to 60, 60, 60. So making a little bit more convenient that there's 3 entries in the year versus just the 2.
Okay, well, let's focus on the 2 that we have right now. When do they have to apply by for each of those? And I don't remember what the other is. Like, so when do they have to apply?
For fall entry, it's April 1st to April 30th.
Okay.
And for winter entry, which is January of the next year, is actually on our doorstep, August 1 to August 31st.
Do you see any advantage to starting at one or the other? Or is it
No.
either way? Is fine?
Either way. Either way.
Okay. And when they graduate, do they walk? I mean, this is a little off subject, but
They
we go
do.
to commencement and
They
have their
actually,
own...
yes, and they participate in commencement, yes.
There you go, guys.
And then in addition, nursing has a tradition called the pinning program, which we consider to be more special than even walking across the graduation. But it is a traditional thing because since Florence Nightingale, where you are pinned as a nurse.
Oh, yeah.
And we have our own pinning ceremony for each graduating cohort and group. In addition to, they can then walk in the overall Seattle College's commencement year, which is an annual thing.
Which you should do.
Yeah, and we do write
that's
the
a lot
letters
of
for families to obtain their visas for
Oh,
commencement. So we try to tie our June graduates with the pinning and commencement around the same time, so families can make one trip and one letter will serve for that visa.
That's cool.
And our August graduates, where we have right now, they can walk in June, and then we have their pinning coming up in August.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's also streamed live on Zoom.
Oh, it is?
So if the families can't travel, pinning is also
We stream it
Zoom.
live.
We stream it.
That's so great. Wow.
Thank you, COVID, for streaming.
Yes, thank you, COVID. Thank you, COVID. COVID had a big impact on the nursing field, yeah? We lost a lot of nurses at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there's a lot of opportunity in nursing? I mean, are there, no?
It's the best. No, it's.
Oh.
I'm actually no. It is actually healthcare and nursing in particular is the best field currently, and the most AI protected.
Yes. That is.
No robots are going to be coming and emptying out bedpans anytime
Not
soon?
assessing people.
Not assessing people.
Well, that's for Washington State.
I don't know though. Sometimes if I feel weird, I'll go into Chat GPT and go, "Hey, what do I got here?"
Yeah.
And he tells
So-
me I have Ebola or something.
Yeah. So you asked about Washington State and then the opportunities. We're about 6,000 nurses short in our state. So there's a lot of opportunity to fill those positions, and we don't graduate 6,000 nurses a year. We only graduate roughly around 1,500 statewide. Statewide, because programs tend to be small. You can't have 100 students. You can have 100 students in a lecture hall, but you can't put 100 students in a clinical setting.
Right.
So we have small learning pods, I would call them. So our lecture, so for students, you're like, how big is your program? So we're not like the university size. 90 is a big class for us, but they're divided into groups of 30. So there's no more than 30 students in your lecture. And then in the lab or when you're off-site doing work with, we call it clinical with real humans, no more than, it's about 8 to 10. So in the lab, it's a 1 to 10 ratio. So you have smaller learning pods and smaller learning communities. So that's why it takes us a little while to go wherever we go for our clinicals. So with that many students and that many nurses short. The employment is here. It's just a matter of, you asked before, employers. We have some new graduates this summer who just communicated they're working for a local employer in the neonatal intensive care unit with the itty bitty tiny babies. Somebody else got hired at the university hospital. Another person's working at the trauma center. Our graduates are gainfully being employed in our local area where we've trained.
Right.
And the students that we have through our program, what our clinical partners like about it is they tend to stay here. Yeah. And a lot of traditional other schools, they come and train and then they're gone. They've moved to other states because they're just trying to get into a nursing program somewhere. But our community population of students tend to stay here to a high level, 95+% or more. Is they train, work here, and they stay here.
I'm guessing I used to work in a rural hospital setting in Eastern Oregon, and they were always short, always trying to get people to come out and work in rural health. Do you guys send a lot of people out to the boondocks, so to speak, out to the rural settings?
That isn't our role.
That's not your
to
role.
Do that, and we have to be within a 50-mile radius of the campus for our program, for our clinicals.
Gotcha.
That's what the WACs are for us to do. So we're not sending students to Yakima to go to a clinical. The furthest south we're going to do is Western State, down off Stellacome, or Tacoma, or up to Everett, Edmonds, and then of course all throughout here, Darien over to say Issaquah. But we don't go to the rural areas. Now the rural schools, of course,
we'll do that.
We'll do that.
So if they're a student here, but you're sending them all the way up to Everett,
could be.
They're taking public transportation to get there generally,
or find a classmate,
find a car, or whatever.
Yeah, find a classmate and carpool. That's what we recommend. But also everywhere that we go, there is transportation. But you've got to plan for that time.
Right.
You've got to plan if I have to take a ferry. You have to plan if I have to take the Sounder or the Sound Transit or a bus. So when we're doing early clinicals, you're reporting anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. So you need to make sure that you allowed enough time for your transportation to be on time, because being on time is essential. That is professionalism, and that is what is expected on every shift.
And on time is actually early.
Yes.
Okay. So if I have a 7 o'clock, it seemed like the hospital I worked at, I worked the night shift. So it seemed like the new nurses were coming in at 7, and the old nurses were kind of passing the baton.
Traditionally that is here, but we also have a hospital like St. Francis is 6A to 6P. And then we have Northwest Hospital where we do a clinical shift there that's a swing shift, 3 to 11. So it's an 8-hour. But you work night shift, so this is exactly what it is. How was it for you? If you're a nurse, you cannot leave your patients until you have handed off full report to the oncoming nurse. How do you think you're going to like it if you've just completed your shift and your person's not there?
That would be frustrating.
It's not good. So that is why, and that is a big feedback from our technical advisory committee, which is the TAC, which are the hiring people out here, the different hospital systems, saying that the new, what they call residency programs for new grads coming in, being hired, they are looking for that professionalism, that they are being on time, they are communicating properly and ready to go.
But I would say that's also the expectation of the program. So we start our lectures at 8. We start our labs by 8. And we should start on time and end on time. So when students are late, it disrupts the lecture, it disrupts their classmates. And after 10 minutes, they can be denied entry to the class, the lab, or the clinical setting. And it's up to that teacher to make that call whether they're in. And then it's a missed lecture, it's a missed lab, it's a missed clinical. So we're pretty strict about that, as well as students wear their own, we have school scrubs. So they wear navy blue, tops and bottoms like you see on TV, and we have a Seattle College patch. Patches identify them as a student.
They're identified in the clinical setting as to which school they're with.
Very cool.
And then they have their student ID badge, so we can learn their name and workflow and make sure they're on time for lab, it works for lab too.
Okay, well, I was going to ask this question eventually, but like if I'm a culinary student, I might have to buy my own set of knives and wear a chef's hat and get a uniform. So in addition to the scrubs that they're wearing, are there any other special kinds of things a student will have to, like will they have to buy a stethoscope for themselves?
Yes.
I mean, what other kind of things would they have to expect to buy for themselves?
Stethoscope, pen light.
Oh yeah, pen light.
They need like leather closed-toed shoes, because if you have a mesh pair of shoes and something unfortunate falls on the ground or hits your feet, you might go home with soggy socks and whatever that was.
Or sticks, I'm thinking, is an issue, yeah?
Yeah, so that's and a watch with a second hand, or the ability to do vital signs. When we take someone's pulse or blood pressure and you got to count, you have to be able to make it. They used to not allow that, but you can set it so you can see, seconds instead of just minutes.
You can't pull out your cell phone and start the stopwatch on the cell phone.
Some health systems have moved away from having your own stethoscope and having one dedicated. So, there's some unintended costs that you see with those. We're basically an e-learning book platform, and you need a laptop. You need a laptop is preferred over a tablet, because all of your books are electronic and you have a lot of videos, and all your exams are on your computer. So students must be computer literate and savvy how to upload email, send documents, and take tests. And they have to be able to log in and out of their device.
Okay.
Which happens.
We're just giving you the things we have problems with.
No, yeah. But I remember when I was in China, I taught in China, and there were students that would actually write their papers on their cell phone.
Right.
Not happening.
Cannot do that.
No.
You could take notes, I think. If you're in class, you could take notes on a cell phone if you were wanting to do it that way. But we need a laptop. We use an app called ExamSoft for secure testing.
Right.
Okay, proctored secure testing. And so the laptop has to be compatible with Exemplify, which is the software that ExamSoft uses. So in our nursing handbook, and it has a link that goes to that source, you have to test your computer to make sure that it will work with it. Otherwise, it is an expectation the student has to upgrade. Now, what we do have, we cannot provide laptops to students, but each campus carries spare laptops in case yours suddenly cracks out or goes bad or dies from not charging or whatever, can't get into it, some technical reason can't use it. We don't want our students freaking out when it's test day and they can't take a test.
Sure.
We have a laptop to supply them that our lab people keep updated all the time with the current version of the app, so that they can then log, but they have to be able to log in to their own account and log into the Wi-Fi so that they can then take the test on that.
So a tablet or an iPad doesn't have the same capabilities as a laptop, but it will work with their e-textbooks.
Okay, sure.
So, some people really like their iPads, I would say, or a Lenovo or something similar. And then we can loan them something to take their exams. And the exams are throughout the whole program.
Right.
And our program is structured that the students take we have a variety of electronic means with videos and simulations and things that they do. So they need that capability that comes from the laptop. But most of the programs and the books they can highlight, they can make note cards. They've migrated. And if you need a print copy, there's a way to download it and then you can print it yourself. There's some resources to do that.
Okay, well, let's say a student is struggling, like they have, they're working on their laptop, they're reading everything they need to, but they're still struggling. Do we have support services like tutoring for nursing students that are having a tough time?
That was a hard nut to crack, let me tell you. But we currently do.
Yeah.
We have a student support navigator, which helps students navigate simply college in general. How to get the financial aid, how to do this, how to do that, if there's food scarcity, if they need, some emergency funds, if they qualify, that type of thing. But then also, we train that particular person to also be able to get into the e-learning books so that they can help students log in and get into their accounts, get to the work that they're supposed to get to that's being assigned by the different instructors and so on and so forth. And then at the moment, and we're waiting for the decision on the budget, currently, but we're hoping to be able to continue providing the nursing content-specific tutoring. But we've been able to supply that the last couple of years, and we're hoping to be able to continue, but we actually don't have that definitive answer, but we are hoping to be able to do so. But if we don't get that, each faculty member is required to identify if a student is struggling and to notify us with what we call student interaction reports. And then it's part of that instructor's responsibility to work with that student. But as you can imagine, if you've got 5, 6, or 10 students who are struggling, it's kind of hard to really parse out any real exact time. And then I think another common question is, how much time outside of school do I have to study? Well, for nursing, that's a big thing. For every credit hour of a course, there's about a 3-hour outside of classwork that you would be. So if you're in a 3 credit hour course, that'd be about 9 hours additional during the week outside of school to really master the content. And a lot of our courses are 4 or 5 credits. So now you're talking 12 to 15 hours outside of that particular school class. So now if you have a couple of classes, and you're in, since we're doing 12 credits a quarter, that's a full-time job essentially.
It is a full-time job.
36 hours, and that's to be, because nursing, you'll come through all your prereqs. You'll have already done your elementary schools and all your schooling. You're all traditional and used to doing. A lot of times it's memorization, spit it back out on the paper, and you're moving on, right? That's not nursing. That is definitely not nursing. And we try to tell every orientation group this. They all get this glazed look. None of them believe us. And then they all pretty much bomb their first nursing exam, because nursing is about applying and analyzing. You can literally have 4 correct answers on the test, but based on what the question is asking you, what is the priority move for the nurse to do? Of those 4 correct things, what is the most correct thing that you should be doing first? You've assessed the situation. You have a question. It's giving you a situation. Which one of these is the proper thing that I do first? It's not that you're not going to do the other 3. And they're just looking for, I want one answer to memorize and put back.
That's not how it works.
That isn't it. And so we call that critical thinking. We call that nurse's brain, or nurse's thinking.
Nurse's brain.
And so it is a level of schooling that you've never had before. And anybody that has gone through nursing school will appreciate and will be sitting there laughing and nodding their head wherever in the world that they are. But until you experience it, for some reason you don't believe us experienced people what we're trying to tell you. But you've got to be prepared. This is not just an amount of just memorizing something and repeating on a piece of paper. Not even from quarter 1 on.
Wow. Well, you mentioned also finance, like maybe some people are struggling financially. Are there scholarships specific to the nursing program that you guys have available to international students?
That's a question I actually don't know the answer to.
Like, can they apply for the foundation scholarship and apply those funds?
I believe the foundation does. The other thing that's important to denote is we're a district program, and we're across more than one campus, but we're all identified as central students, Seattle Central Colleges. If you happen to be taking nursing classes but assigned the South Campus, South Seattle, if South Seattle has some money to be awarded,
they have their own foundation.
It cannot be used
for
nursing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So we've had a couple of students get awards and then be very disappointed when it wasn't. They bring it to central office and are like,
sorry,
we can't use this.
Good to know. But when they're doing the prereqs, they can use that money.
If they're at South Seattle and they're doing prereqs, then they're fine doing that. But not in nursing specific. It has to be a central-based award.
There's also private organizations like Mary Mahoney, Washington Center for Nursing, King County Nursing Association. There are other domains that offer nursing student scholarships. And so there's different criterion for those, and those are offered throughout the year. So usually the student has to do the application, apply, maybe get a recommendation from faculty, and then if it comes to us, we just confirm they're enrolled, and then it's in the hands of the grantor.
And are those available? Do you know if they're available at International?
They should be.
Well, check out the...
It's just that everyone has its own criteria. Some have you write a massive essay. Some have you do this and the other. So you just have to read through the application just to make sure. But there's a variety of those that are out there.
So school's expensive, right? So
yes,
it's
it is.
Roughly about $36,000 for the tuition and fees. Just to do our program for just the nursing side of it, not the prereqs. Those have the separate fees. And we talked before, doesn't include housing, food, transportation.
Do they have to live on? I mean, we don't really have on-campus housing anymore.
Have on-campus housing.
So most of the students that you know of that are international, are they just getting apartments near this building?
They make their own arrangements. Maybe they possibly have a family member, even a distant family member that already lives here in the area, or they have friends. A lot of times I've heard of people that have made arrangements with church organizations, and they've rented a room.
Sure, we have homestay program as well that I would think some nursing students probably take advantage of.
We also have a student nursing club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's an SNA
I didn't know that.
club. Yeah, it's been reactivated, and so they do outreach, they do events, they bring in speakers, they do a little fundraising.
And anybody can join that? You don't have to be a nursing student?
No, some pre-nursing students are a part of it too. So
you could join it as you're doing prerequisites if you wanted to.
You want to meet some people?
Is it mostly just networking, or what other kinds of? Do they have activities?
They have activities. They did some community outreach, and then they bring in speakers. So they've had like nurses from the community come. They've had a flight nurse, different people.
That's so cool.
So it's a faculty member runs it, so we're kind of out of the loop. So I know a little bit of what they do.
And does that happen here at this building?
It happens here. It can happen at South. It's kind of wherever they decide to go.
Wherever they decide to go.
And sorry, just for my own clarification, we keep mentioning South and Central, but you could do your prerequisites at North as well?
That is correct.
Okay, sure. But at some point, you'll have to leave North.
Correct.
Come back down.
North or South, that's where the confusion is.
Right.
North or South, you still have to have those what they call the transcript evaluation form. And you have to have those transcripts brought into Central to be officially, because it's Central that's ultimately going to award the degree.
Sure.
So they have to have vetted and make sure that everything is on there for the prerequisites in order to
But when they apply, they get to pick if they want to go to Central or South.
Yeah.
So if we have all 90 people who want to be at Central, there's only room at the inn, as I call it, for 30. So that's where the randomization also comes into play of how many need to go to South.
True.
Gotcha.
Some could then be sent to South.
It's only 6
ran out of room here, and that would be strictly lottery.
Yeah. It's 6.2 miles from here at the Health Education Center to the West Seattle campus.
Yeah, it's not far.
No.
The distance is pretty short.
Is it
a bus?
the 125? It's just a one bus to get there?
It's one bus to get there.
Okay.
I do know that, but I can't tell you the number because I'm not a bus.
Okay.
But I do know it's one bus.
And it drops right out in front of campus. And so
actually the bus stop drops out right in front of the Cascade Hall, which is the nursing building.
Right, okay. All right, well, we got to start wrapping this up. I've taken up a lot of your time. I really appreciate it. But just a couple things, like obviously we didn't cover every single thing that you can imagine. If they wanted to get more information about the program, they can always reach out to an outreach person, a recruiter like me. But sometimes we don't have all those specialty kinds of answers. Who can they reach out to from you guys? If they're in their home country, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
I think the best way is to reach our general email inbox, which is adn.central@seattlecolleges.edu. That's the main nursing one, and a variety of people manage that inbox for us.
Oh, great.
Our emails are rather long. You can go to our nursing homepage and look us up. We hope to actually add some more content there. We host info sessions a couple times a month. So those are all online on Zoom. And they do at different days of the week at different times. So it's on the main calendar schedule at the college. And we run them year round. And we'll run them weekly as we're gearing up. So it's July. So we have an application cycle in August. And we run it weekly in August. and we have support to help you fill out the application.
Okay, so like if you're in Kenya, for example, and you want to find those info sessions, where are they listed at?
They're going to go to seattlecentralcollege.edu, and in the search area, click on calendar, and the calendar for the college will show up on the right-hand side, and it'll tell you when info sessions and tours are happening.
Sure.
And we
And then
run
the link
both
is
the
there.
nursing info sessions and the NAC info sessions as well.
But I want to caution you guys, when you go to that website we're talking about, that is domestic side. Remember, if you're going to apply as an international student, you need to apply through the international, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu, because you got to be an international student first before you can do all this other stuff. So apply with us there, but you can get information about the program over at the domestic side of the house. So just for fun, before we get out of here, I grew up watching MASH a lot, watching nurses. Probably a lot of the young people out there watching don't even know what I'm talking about. But if you were going to recommend a show that you really like that kind of got you interested in nursing, or that you just think is a good thing for people that are maybe thinking about nursing to go and watch, or maybe even a book. It doesn't have to be a show, a TV show, or a movie that you just found. What would be your recommendation? I mean, like we were talking earlier, there's a new show called The Pit. It may not be in your country. A lot of people come up to my table at fairs and say Grey's Anatomy because it takes place here in this beautiful city. But what are you guys into?
Well, I'm into The Pit.
Yeah,
so,
The Pit's awesome.
It is the most realistic healthcare show of today. It really depicts the role of the nurse and the medical team that's in an emergency room, and what we see like in a trauma place, which is just up the road here called our Harbor View. So between the providers, the nurse, there's a new graduate nurse in season 2, which I really like. They also talk about social determinants of health, and they bring in mental health, substance misuse, family challenges, also pregnancy, and also people at their end of their life. And it's realistic. If you don't like blood, gore, and guts, have somebody else watch it and let them know first. And I think at this older ones, yes, I watch MASH, Grey's Anatomy, ER, some of those older shows are all kind of give you a little bit of a view of what it could be like. But that is really pretty cool. I love the show.
But just remember, emergency room nursing is only one kind, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different.
Very small.
Small aspects of nursing.
Yes.
Nursing is a very big world.
Yeah.
Very big world. It's not just about bedside nursing all the time.
Right.
For me, of course, all of those similar things are fine, but I have a movie that Robin Williams did that I adore that is called Awakenings.
Oh, that's not the one I thought.
And that is one movie that really touches me, because if you're a nurse, once you are a nurse, you recognize that it was a nurse who noticed something, then brings it, and together they're watching it, and then leads them down this path. The other interesting thing about Awakenings is it was actually based on a true story.
Oh.
And those events actually happened. And now it's interesting how when we come full cycle, here it is, we now have, new and improved mosquitoes and new and improved bugs and bacteria and stuff. We are actually seeing something similar to happened in the 1920s and 30s when the people were affected, but then it was discovered in the 60s. They'd been in these institutions all these years with their minds working, but their bodies locked down. And we're now seeing something. There's something in the mosquito-borne area that is starting to bring some of these types of cases back, which is rather interesting. But Awakenings, for me, it is something I used to show nursing students and then have a whole list of questions and things that I would ask off of it. A couple other ones, the original Contagion, the one with Dustin.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They've done the remake, which is actually quite good too. So, and then of a book, it was Coma.
Oh,
when I read
scared
Coma,
my mom to death.
That one was like, oh yeah.
It's about this thick. It's a great book.
If I'm going to retrain, I'm going to be a nurse.
I think another current movie is Alice, given the amount of Alzheimer's and dementia that's occurring.
I did see that movie.
And the actress portrays a college professor who has Alzheimer's and gets lost. And then it's all of the family, and it's the little things that you just don't notice, but then once you start putting the pieces together, you realize she has dementia and early onset Alzheimer's, and how we're seeing more and more of that right now. And so when you look at some of the movies out there, there are some really interesting opportunities to look at how nursing care can impact. And we have an aging population here in the U.S., and that there are more.
Which we were part of.
We're all and
me.
and if we think about it, you know, our population growth is down, so there's less people having babies, there's less children, and there's more elders. So elder care is a significant part of our pathway for taking care of the U.S. folks at this point in time. But
we need someone to take care of us, apparently.
We're being very selfish.
Very soon.
But that's true in a lot of countries, like Japan is very elderly.
Well, we love our Seattle College community. We love our health education center. We have amazing real life things that you get to do and practice here when you come to our nursing program. We have simulations with lifelike sized dolls that talk and speak, and you can do things and you learn from.
You can bleed and vomit. And
What?
Yeah, they do all kinds of cool things. We get to work with other programs on interprofessional education, so working with our RT students or maybe our dental students in the future. So nursing is an amazing career that I've had for a very long time. I still have energy and passion for it. There's also opportunities in our Seattle area to go to camps for some students. Tomorrow I'm actually going to UW Nurse Camp. It's geared towards high school students though. But there are some things happening with King County Public Health with an older age camp for people to explore health career opportunities. And we're partnering with Health and Human Services to have a camp. And we hope to have one next summer with us here to explore things. So come see us, come play.
Come over, check it out. You can get all your questions answered in person. You're more than welcome. That would be awesome. Well, guys, last very final question. Your piece of wisdom that you would offer a young person that was thinking about going into nursing. You've already talked about so many pieces of it, but if you just had to sum it up in a quick little sentence, what would it be?
Well, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one, right?
Follow your dream. Follow your heart. And be able to say, if it's not for you, that's okay. And pivot to something else and find another way to take care of people or help people that may not be dealing with the things we deal with every day. And it is a lifelong career.
Sounds like
it will serve you well. It serves your family, your neighbors, your community, and
even your hypochondriac father-in-law or
sometimes we all have those.
It's always been interesting as a nurse because all of a sudden a random text shows up on your phone and it says, "What is this?" And you have no idea what surprise you're going to look at.
Yes. I've sent some medical test results to my nurse friends before, so thank you for helping me.
For my statement, I would say if you are already a person who is the one who tends to the wounded bird, the cat, the one that looks after anybody that's ill in that family, you're already a caring, giving person, this is most definitely the field for you, and you will be fulfilled beyond what you can even imagine at this point. And it would be something that you would not regret. The other thing is, you know, we all think about, well, we work and then we retire if we are fortunate enough to retire, and then we're aging down. I actually am approaching those ages. You know, I'm pushing the door of 70 now. But I actually, because of what I do and how much I love nursing, I intend to keep working far longer than what I originally had always planned in my life. I will be working well into my 70s, which is literally around the corner for me.
There's no cutoff, like a pilot has to retire.
No.
Nurses can go as long as they want.
As long as they want.
As long as they're competent.
You're sure, they still got to do the continuing education.
Yes. And they
So
have to
I think
have a
about
license and so on.
Yeah. So I think about my why. Why do I do what I do now, and why did I do what I did when I was a younger nurse? And it goes back to my dad got sick when I was a little girl. I was about 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember visiting him in the hospital, and he had the glass little jars, which I know now are chest tubes, and they were bubbling. And I thought, why do you have a bubbling brook at your feet? I didn't understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his roommate gave me candy corn. So that's what I remember about his roommate. And my mom told me to lie about my age, because they had age restrictions in the 70s.
At the time.
And so it was the only time my mother told me, if they ask you, you're 10 or 12, whatever it was. And I'm like, she never told me to lie. And then my grandmother had asthma and used an inhaler. And she would point to which one she wanted, and there was yellow, pink, and blue. And I didn't understand what they were. So in my career, I became a pulmonary respiratory nurse. Sputum does not bother me. You can hawk up a loogie any day, and I'm fine with it. And vomiting, blood, I'm okay with. But people are like, ooh, sputum. And I'm like, I'm good. But it's because I was around sputum all the time. And that was my Grammy. And so learning, I became a critical care nurse in a pulmonary lung transplant unit because of my grandmother and my dad's problems with his lung. And so you always think about, why am I okay with sputum? It's because I was around it, but that was the caring, and I took care of the dog, and there used to be a show called Quincy, Medical Examiner.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, I could watch all those shows with my dad and all those things.
Kildare.
And so when you think about being, 18 and knowing I wanted to be a nurse, I knew probably by the time I was 12 I'd be a nurse.
That's pretty amazing.
And so here I am, going to be 62. I'm still doing what I love. Right. And over the years, it became the passion of, I love going to the bedside. I took students in COVID to the hospital. But now I feel my passion and energy is to grow the teaching faculty and grow our nurses and get them out to the field. So that's what I love to do now.
Seems like sometimes I meet young people that want to go into nursing just because they see dollar signs. They're like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money as a nurse.
It is a recent thing. That is a recent, historically, nursing people have come in for altruistic reasons, not financial. However, with the way things have changed in the last, I would say, about 5 years, now you see people, because of COVID, because of travel nursing, and I think that is another reason why we have seen an uptick in male interest.
Sure, yeah.
And it's been more financial, but no, historically, it is altruistic. People care and want to take care of people.
National average for men in nursing is about 17%. Our population here is around 27%. So we have a high volume of male students in our program. We have 2 full-time faculty members that are gentlemen, which is nice. And so that they can have a peer to look at, because being a male nurse is a little bit different than being a woman and being a nurse.
I would think so, yeah.
So it's nice for them to have that role model when they take patients. So another uniqueness, not all programs have male faculty. They tend to be women dominated.
Culturally, though, like if an international student comes here to get training and then they're going to go home to provide care, I mean, are male nurses seen the same way in other countries? Do you have any insight into that?
It would depend on the country. There's a lot of countries have a lot of cultural different.
Well, you were in
roles.
The UK.
I didn't see many men. They were all physicians.
Oh, okay.
The nurses in the UK were still called sisters, and the matron of the ward, who would be like the charge nurse, wore a belt. I was just blown away. I was like back in the Dark Ages. It was like, what? I mean, if that that was a bit ago, but I don't know.
Southeast Asia was very similar. India, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, very female dominated. But that has changed. It's changing. Then you get into Muslim culture. There's a whole different thing there. So can a woman work with a male patient if they're working, say, here? Obviously they could, but it also would be the patient's right here to say, no, I need a same-sex nurse because I'm not comfortable. Or then the chaperone issue becomes part of the equation.
Someone steps in.
So it's too difficult and too broad of a question for us to answer how it would be internationally for them, because literally every country is.
You can do your research, though.
I would say, for one thing, definitely learn your home country and know what your opportunities are as a nurse there. And then if you have, like say you're from the Caribbean and you have an opportunity to go to multiple different islands, which are different countries, you have a heavy British population, you have U.S. Virgin Islands, you have Dutch with St. Martin's, you have individuals like Jamaica and or St. Kitts, St. Nevis, that type of stuff. You could, and I know that St. Kitts has a nursing program and a very viable, a good one there. So there's a lot of different opportunities that maybe you don't come back from, say, Ghana, but you go to one of the Caribbean nations, and any U.S. nursing degree, diploma and degree there is gold.
But you want to make sure wherever you go to school, it's accredited.
That's good, and we are.
So we are. So as an international student coming to a U.S. school, you want to make sure that whatever school you're looking at, that they're accredited nursing program, and that's separate from the college accreditation, because in order to license in the state or internationally, you have to graduate from an accredited nursing program. And in the past year and a half, there has been some fraudulent, it's called the Nightingale action, and there were academic programs where people did or did not, were awarded a degree, sat for licensure, got a license, and never once saw a patient or went to school. So they called it the Nightingale action. And so people are a little wary of those states that had more of those programs located in, and so now you have to be fingerprinted to license in your state. So there's more hoops to do than ever before, but make sure that your program is accredited. And we are fully accredited. There's different companies that accredit them. There's 3 big bodies, but we are fully accredited, and we're up for recertification in fall of 29.
Yeah. Actually, it's twofold. We have our national accreditation, and then we have our Washington Board of Nursing in good standing with non-Washington Board of Nursing. So and then of course the college has an accreditation. So we're covered all the way around.
All the way around.
Central.
Yeah. You can feel good about applying and coming to school here. So.
Yes, you can.
Well, thanks so much for all your time, all your information. My head's kind of spinning. It's a lot to know. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. We're here every Wednesday here on Conversations With. Please share, like, subscribe. We want to keep growing this. We'll try to bring you more helpful kinds of sessions like this. Thanks again, guys. Go out and enjoy the day. It's beautiful today.
We should go to our office.
Go to your office.
Come to Seattle.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website, or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.